Once again, thank you very much for joining me for this webinar, first industrial workshop. And we have the second workshop on Saturday by engineer Suresh Kumar. Today, so most of us know the Gaza Pyramid in Egypt is one of the tallest structure built by ancient engineers. They were not having any degree from any university, but they have built one of the wonders of the world and marvelous of engineering. So far, most of us do not know how they have built those pyramids, what kind of cranes they used, and what kind of materials they have used to cut and transport and build, and which is almost 5,000 years old. So currently, of course, I live in Dubai. So I see every day the tallest structure in the world so far is the Burj Khalifa.
Sir.
Maybe someone might have done with me by mistake. That's fine. So the question for you is why there is a difference between the Gaza Pyramid and the nearest tallest structure, Eiffel Tower. It's almost like 4,600 years. And engineers did not build any structure, tallest structure after the Gaza Pyramid. So I would like to ask you, the participants, if someone have any idea, please. So raise your hand, and I would like to hear what's your guess. And there is a poll here, so you can go on poll. What is the reason? What is the reason? So you have only 10 seconds. Here.
Sir, the time of.
Yeah, tell your name and then give your.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Yashwant.
Okay, Yashwant.
In the time period, the globalization is happening, sir. That means they are working with new metals are founding, so they are busy with the global technological developments. Sir.
Okay, so they were not interested. So what was your answer? You said no pressure on engineers, or engineers were free to do what they want.
Engineers were doing something.
But something else. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prashant. Yashwant.
Yashwant,
okay.
Sir.
Oh, Yashwant. Okay, thank you. So the second volunteer, please.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Nisar Ahmed.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nisar.
Sir, I vote for knowledge loss, sir.
Why do you think so?
Because there is a great time lag between those two constructions, sir, and at those time we were unable to recognize the engineers, sir. There might be greatest engineers in those days, but we are unable to recognize them. So due to that, we lost them, sir.
Thank you, Nisar, for your argument. Okay, the next argument, please. No pressure on engineers to build tallest structures.
This is Narayana, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Narayana.
Sir, Eiffel Tower is an epitome of modern architecture, sir. It was completed for World Fair. It is to show that the strongness of French, and so engineers were pressured to build such a way that it shows beautiful its beautiness and its structural integrity and a modern industrial society. It represents a modern industrial society. It was built under the age where industrialization is happening.
Okay, thank you, Narayana. This is a good debate. Very good, good argument. Okay, the last
Thank you,
option.
Mark.
Yeah, good debate. Yes. Actually, it was a googly for you, and all the reasons were there. So we lost the knowledge, and engineers were doing something else, and there was no pressure on engineers to build the tallest structures, and engineers were free to do what they want. So all the four were happening simultaneously after the pyramid. And this is what I am going to give some details about what happened, and not from myself, from a book called A Betterment of Human Condition, written by Dr. John Jones. I'm very fortunate to work with the author, Dr. John Jones from Simon Fraser University, British Columbia. And this book was very popular, and this book has become one of the subject and course in North American engineering first year studies. And I used to teach this course, and it is the reason I'm bringing this topic and want to share with you. So all the four reasons are right. So there are certain reasons why. And that has become the history of engineering for the last 5,000 years. Thank you for your time. I'm ending this poll. Okay, so the results are shared with you. I'm going back to the presentation. So as per the book published and as per the research published by Dr. John Jones, starting from the Gaza Pyramid until the industrialization happened, so it was divided into four segments. The first one is called Greek and Roman engineering era. And the second is science and engineering development in East. And the third era was Renaissance engineering. And the fourth, industrialization. Let me tell you the reason why the knowledge is lost. The knowledge is lost from Gaza period because if you go back to biblical studies, the Pharaoh, the King Pharaoh, was the main reason to build the tombs, because the pyramid is for him, not for the people. Is there any use of a pyramid? So far, no. As per the history, the pyramids were made only for the king to get his after death benefits. There were no benefits to the society or the public. And the King Pharaoh was forcing so-called engineers 5,000 years ago to build a tallest structures so that he can go to the next world after his death, maybe heaven. And you know, most of the kingdom was fell during Prophet Moses, as per the biblical history, and the engineers, mostly the Jews, they left Egypt and they went to Europe. And coming back to the second point, there was no pressure now on engineers to build the pyramids, the tombs. They were free to do anything because there was no king like Pharaoh who said, build the pyramids. So they were free to do their inventions. This is how the Greek engineering has come into picture. So Greek engineers were started building societies, started building the civilization, no more focusing on the tallest structures. So the whole civilization flourished in Greek and Romans and Europe. And slowly it spread across other regions, even Asia. So this was a remarkable change in engineering history. For example, imagine the King Pharaoh was living and they were ruling the whole world. They were only building the pyramids because that's their motto. So fortunately, so thanks to the history, engineers started focusing on building civilization. The second era of Greek and Roman civilization, and it's recorded in the book that after the fall of Greek empires, Roman empires, and Asia started working on science and engineering. The knowledge from Greek and Roman engineering, the construction and civilization, agriculture, water irrigation, the knowledge started getting transferred to Asia, and Asia started doing research on science, applied science. That's where the optics started developing new materials, right? And India has been doing castings, material science for ages. So the science came into picture and science started getting attached to engineering. And engineering innovations got multiplied exponentially due to the new materials, new manufacturing processes, and new technologies. So we call that period of engineering is Asia's research and development. And the third era again went back to Renaissance, and now the society started flourishing, and some difference between societies started warfare. Now there were a fight between two kingdoms for maybe for agriculture, maybe for water. So the border disputes. Now again, the kings have come into picture and they started forcing engineers to develop ammunition, defensive system. So we got trapped. So this era of third era is called Renaissance engineering. Is motivated by disputes and fights. And the fourth era was industrialization. So because of disputes, a lot of destruction happened, and there was a lot of diseases, plague, millions of people died in Europe. And during that time, say 500 years ago, India was flourishing. India was having, people say, the whole 25% of the the world GDP was generated by India 500 years ago. Industrialization started in Europe by the necessity. There are less people, you need more food, more clothes. That's how the industrialization started. Otherwise, earlier, everyone used to do their own. They used to do their own clothes, own food, everything done. But due to less manpower and more requirement, and engineers started doing inventions. Steam engine was one of the invention which drove the production, mass production, development of machines. That was the greatest innovations in engineering history. Energy, power. To do a work, you need energy and power. So the mechanical power came into picture. And there was no electrical 500 years ago, no electronics. Civil mechanical engineers started working together, and there were a lot of equipment developed. You can see some of the equipment developed in Bahubali 2 or Bahubali 1. You see there are a lot of defense equipment, irrigation. You see, I think the director Rajmouli really did a good job and has shown the marvel of engineering work. So during the industrialization, the last 300 years, 200 years, and slowly the necessity of the power has become important, and engineers started working on how to increase the power, energy. That's how the electricity came into picture, and Edison invented bulb, and then Tesla, electricity, so on. Industrialization has flourished civilization. So we were discussing this industrialization, industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Now we are at 4.0. So from 1.0, where mechanical and electrical civil engineers started adding new technologies, and new branches of engineering started emerging, semiconductors, development, electronics, development. The industry 2.0 is mass production, is for the mass production. So Ford started mass production of automotives, transportation. Once the transportation is more accessible and people started moving from one place to another, and the data necessary, how logistics, they drove industry 3.4. Computers have been developed, automation started, and 4.4, this is digital world. Wi-Fi, internet, changed the complete world. So this is where we are right now, industry 4.4. So there were few lessons to take from the history for the last 500 years. Whenever engineers were free to think, they were really doing excellent. If engineers were pressurized, so they were developing something mass destruction. So if engineers left free to their will under regulations, licensing, they do wonders, because engineers will be responsible and accountable if they do self-regulation.